Hello and welcome to the How to Exit podcast. Today I'm here with Michelle Seiler Tucker, best-selling author of Exit Rich and CEO of Seiler Tucker Incorporated. Thank you for being on the show today. I'm really excited to get to know you better and learn from you today. I
Thank
always like to start off with just letting people get to know who you are and kind of how you got
you.
where you're at. So I jokingly, like I said, Michelle, I like to joke and say, hey, you were born, some things happened, and you ended up on a show about buying and selling businesses. Can you fill in the gap on how you ended up here?
Sure, happy to. I've been asked this question a million times, and I've practiced along the way because I don't like to talk about myself. I like to talk about how to educate business owners about exiting rich. But anyway, I would say, I wasn't your typical child. Around 7 or 8, I never really played with toys. I didn't play with dolls. I thought it was a waste of time to play with toys. I would walk around with a notebook and a pen, and I would walk up to strangers at the bank, at the grocery store, at church, everywhere, and I'd ask them, "Well, what do you do? How did you get started? How can I get started?" And I was like at 7, 8 years old, so my mom's like, "Oh my gosh, she's going to be the next Barbara Walters," you know. And I'm not Barbara Walters, but I do consider myself somewhat of a reporter because I'm just curious. I've always been curious, and I think that's what makes me so successful in mergers and acquisitions is because I'm like a kid in a candy jar. I can't wait to find out how somebody started their business, from their kitchen table or we're selling $55 million company that started out of a pickup truck, with a third grade education. So I knew back then I was always going to be an entrepreneur. I knew back then I didn't want to work for anyone. And, so I started your small businesses along the way, like lemonade stands and stuff like that. I always told my mom I'll never get that three letter word job. Um, that I would always be self-employed, but I was wrong. So never say never. I did end up getting recruited from Xerox, and Xerox recruited me as their high volume manager. And then within 6 months, they promoted me to regional vice president over the South, overseeing 100 to 150 salespeople. And then I realized really quickly, what am I doing here? I said I would never get a job, and now I'm stuck in corporate America. I love working with clients. I'm a people person. I love problems because I like coming up with solutions, and I like building relationships that last a lifetime. So exit rich is so important because it really teaches business owners how to build a business, not a job. You want a business that works for you instead of you working for it. I know that Ronald, you and I were talking before the show about a company that we have that you might be interested in, and you said, I don't want to buy a job. I don't want to buy a job. And most buyers don't want to buy a job. However, most business owners have created a job, and that's why it's not sellable. So there's lots of reasons why businesses, 80% to 90% businesses don't sell. The number one reason is because business owners have created that glorified job, not a company that buyers want to buy. Number two, business owners don't think about selling until a catastrophic event occurs, whether that's internal or external. You need to follow the Stephen Covey concept. Start with the end in mind. Plan
Hmm.
your exit from the beginning. Your business is your most valuable asset. Stop treating it as your baby. Business owners are like, oh, this is my baby. I can't separate from my baby, or my baby's worth $20 million. Your baby's not worth $20 million if your EBIT is $100,000 a year. So you really have to have a mind shift. And I tell my business owners, follow the GPS exit model that we outline in my book, Exit Rich. Even financial, advisors, we hire a financial advisor, a lot of us do, and we plan for retirement. Then we take our most valuable asset, which should be your business, and we don't plan for the financial success, of financial exit, so our family can exit rich one day if something was to happen to us. It's financial suicide. And people got to get out of that 80-year-old mindset, and I love the millennials and the Generation X because they're starting really great businesses, SaaS businesses, e-commerce businesses, and they're building it to sell, and they're building it to sell within a few years. One thing they are missing is the solid infrastructure, but other than that, they have the right mindset. And then the other big thing is contracts. If you're trying to buy a company that has recurring subscription model, you want to make sure they have contracts. Now, there's all kinds of contracts. There's vendor contracts. There's distribution contracts. There's franchisor. There's franchisees. There's also, like I said, manufacturing. There's supplier contracts. The most valuable to clients like Ronald is going to be your customer, your client contracts. But here's the problem with contracts. Most business owners, I've never seen a business owner get this right. Let's just be real here. In 22 years, I've never seen a business owner get this right. 98% of all sales are asset sales, not stock sales.
Right.
If your contract doesn't have a transferability clause and your buyer doesn't agree to a stock sale, you have to go to all of your clients and get them to agree to transfer, to consent to transfer. And then the other big thing is celebrity endorsements. We have a client that's working with Oprah. Lots of strategics will want to buy that company because they want to get their products in front of the queen of everything. Radio personalities. I mean, Rhonda right here looks like a big famous radio host. So radio personalities are huge because that's digital real estate. If you've got, going back or somebody really big endorsing your product, they can only endorse one vertical at a time because they lose credibility. And if you have those morning slots, or you have, you own that real estate for your product, let's say you have a skincare company, nobody else can bump you from that. Strategics
Right.
will pay a lot of money for that. And same thing with like number one on Etsy, where, good spots at Amazon. This is what we call digital real estate. This is your proprietary asset. This will get you the highest value possible. I've had people outbid people. I have one company pay 165% more for a company because of proprietary synergies. So, Exit is endorsed by Steve Forbes, also Sharon Lechter. I don't know if you've heard of Sharon Lechter, but she's my co-author. She wrote the Mentor's Corner after each chapter, and she is quite interesting individual because she's a financial literacy expert. She's a CPA, and she has been an advisor to many different presidents. And then, of course, Kevin Harrington, the original Shark from Shark Tank, was the forward. So I just want everybody to know, who is Exit Rich for? Exit Rich is really for anybody looking to buy a business, start a business, anyone who owns a business, anyone looking who's an entrepreneur, even high-level executives. I had a pharmaceutical company buy Exit Rich even before it was out. They bought the PDF version, they printed it out on ledger paper, and the owner gave it to each department head and all the high-level executives. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. We've never done this before.